Hey, welcome to episode 18 of the Bad Batch podcast. Whether you've seen one Star Wars film, played some games, or become a hermit and have mastered all content of the Star Wars universe, this podcast is for you. I'm your co-host, Justin Samoy, and I'm also here with Drew Criswell.
What's going on?
And BJ Davis.
Hello. And today we have a very special guest, Nick Snow. Ooh, yay, let's go.
Hello there. Has anyone ever done that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about starting it with that for a while, but I've always heard hey, so we just rolled with it. But so before we dive into some Star Wars news and the topic of today, which is our favorite arcs of the Clone Wars and Rebels, I just want to let you know that you could be spoiled if you haven't seen Star Wars as a whole or just some parts of it. I don't know how deep we're going to dive, so here's your spoiler warning. So I guess we'll kick off the news right now. Nick actually sent this in to us today, but a Kenobi TikTok or a Kenobi set on TikTok.
You guys made a Kenobi TikTok?
Yeah, and it was of Tatooine. It was pretty cool. We very familiar with that place, but it was cool to kind of see it in action. And I mean, I play Battlefront 2 a lot, so it looked just like that from walking around in it. So that was cool.
Do you think they're actually in? Didn't they film it before in Tunisia or wherever they were? I wonder if that's where they just always go back to film, like if that's where they are right now.
Yeah, I think that set is like still physically there, so why not use it, right?
Right.
But I wonder if they are using that exact one.
I never knew where
the best part of
that's cool.
I think the best part about that TikTok too was you go through the comments and everyone's like, dude, are you gonna get fired? Like, what do you do? The guy did not care at all. Yeah. He was like, whatever. And he's like posting like a minute long video of like the whole set going around.
Maybe I think they did that on purpose, maybe then. Just to like advertise it, just like a little, just give the fans just a little something.
But I do always wonder about like the people who end up leaking stuff, because there's like something always happens. And it's like, dude, you've got to get fired. Like,
you just never hear from them again.
Yeah,
it's a sacrificial lamb.
Like he's just the fan that got like the random like catering job just so he could do that.
That'd be a sweet move.
Super intricate.
I just left events. I should go back and do event planning and freaking.
We all start doing that instead of we just all quit our jobs and just become like part-time caterers on Star Wars sets and ruin it for everybody.
Or like set refurbishers. We just like clean sets and try and get on there. Yeah, so that was cool news. When is dude, we talk about when it drops every episode, but I always forget when it is. 2022?
Yeah, they just started production, so probably 2022, like mid 2022.
Yeah, well, we are excited for it. Love Obi-Wan and excited to see Hayden again. And then in other news, obviously, right after this episode last week, the Bad Batch dropped a new trailer, and we got some new characters. Yeah, not just a teaser trailer. It was like 2 minutes. And we saw a lot of good things in it. I mean, I don't know if anyone has anything to say about it other than that one kid.
I think the biggest, Omega.
Yeah, Omega.
I think Omega, and then I think the biggest thing that people are getting excited about is seeing Rex with the crew. Are they looking over what crash? Like what kind of like just a Star Destroyer crash, or is it supposed to be specific? You think to?
I think that's believe it starts with a B. I forget what it's called, but it's the same place from the Force or what video game? Why am I blank on that? Fallen Order.
Okay. Whatever
that Braca, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yards and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that. That was a cool little thing they had in Fallen Order.
Yeah, that was cool. And we also saw Saw Gerrera, which is cool. I mean, I'm not like invested in Saw. He's in a lot of stuff, but he's cool. It's good to have some recurring characters.
It's weird. He looks the same as he did in Clone Wars, but then he just looks radically different like he did in the movies in Rebels. It's just kind of... I feel like they should have kept him just looking like Rebels moving forward.
Yeah, or like have a good mix in between.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the cliff. I'm excited to see like where he really falls off and starts to look terrible. Like he still looks fine right now. I'm excited to see his like hair go crazy and like his eye and everything else.
Oh yeah, I guess we will see that makes sense because in Fallen Order he's like Forrest Whitaker, like the crazy saw that we know. So yeah, we could.
Is that I was seeing people say this, I'm not sure if it's correct or not, but the Omega, like you were talking about earlier, Nick, is that a female clone?
I think that's what they're saying is like the theory, like Omega, last letter in the Greek alphabet, so she's like the last clone maybe ever. There she is.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
She's wonderful.
But I also, because of that, I don't feel like we'll see Grogu. Like that'll just be too many children. You know?
Yeah,
there's always that daycare.
When I first saw Omega on the trail, I was like, yeah, there's the child representation in all the Star Wars.
Yeah. So it's just kind of weird.
The father-child.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's weird if she's also the last clone and she's a girl too. Not that there's anything wrong with girls.
I think some people were trying to say that it could be the first steps of like Palpatine trying to clone and like maybe get some sort of, maybe it's like the lineage, maybe trying to get something having to do with him cloning still.
It's Rey's dad. Oh my God. That's crazy. If that's right though, and I just said it as a joke, that would be hype.
Just completely nailed their trajectory for like the whole series. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna hide it here, and you're like, yeah, I think it's Rey's dad.
Or just make it Rey's mom, just completely diverge from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they can do whatever they want, I guess, because well, actually no, not now. Not after Rise of Skywalker.
Because they just seem to do whatever they want. That's why they can do whatever they want, and they just do. They just do it. They don't really care about what the fans think. Still love it. Still love it.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want in every single movie.
Yeah, that's funny because some of the like their properties, they're like, this is for you guys. We want to hear what you think, and some of them are like, this is us.
They're like Yoda is Obi-Wan's dad.
Like Mandalorian did a pretty good job of like impressing everyone. But then like sequels, whatever.
I think I saw somewhere where like either Filoni or Favreau is saying like, okay, like we're gonna take more ownership in this now. Like everyone likes what we do. I think they're like really trying to get a bigger role now, and I'm afraid they're gonna like try pushing their luck, and they're just gonna make all right, see ya, and then we're just gonna get back to like bad Star Wars. But I hope they do.
Wait, so you're saying that you think that they might take out Dave Filoni?
I'm saying I think Filoni and Favreau might be like, hey, we want more and more ownership, or we're dipping. And I think Uncle Disney will be like, no. And
they're like too challenged by them, kind of thing. Yeah, and they go,
yeah.
I guess, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And then Star Trek
is the most bold takes only.
I like it. But yeah, I mean, that could definitely make sense with like, and the public opinion is like heavily swayed in their favor, where like, I don't know, Disney always likes to be the ones that are calling the shots, and like, yeah.
I mean, they did that with Sony and Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, they just, we're going to take Spider-Man from you. We're going to take all the money. You can have opening day sales. Like, take it or leave it. Spider-Man's not in the universe anymore if you don't want him. They're like, this is our most popular one yet. So Disney is a very great company, and we support them. And if you're looking for any actors, I'd do it.
If they want to sponsor our podcast, I know the perfect one.
Yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Disney.
Don't say that. Don't shut us down so fast.
Our first ad read is for the conglomerate Disney.
That'd be hype. All right, so, I mean, do we have anything else to say on the Bad Batch trailer? I guess Fennec's in it. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Disney hat trick.
It just makes you think, where's Ahsoka, is what I got from like the Rex.
Yeah.
That would be cool to see another Clone Wars Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't they say like, well, I'm sure they could twist it where they like didn't see each other since that day, the last time they were together.
True.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
yeah. And I actually just read the Ahsoka book, and they said they agreed to split up from there and not like cross paths for a while. And she goes to like some small moon and like I don't know, saves them.
From like a mechanic, right?
Yeah, moisture farmer.
Yeah, like pretty much she helps farm like this moon, and then the Empire comes because they want to destroy the moon for its resources, and she like helps them revolt. But yeah, No, Rex is mentioned in the book, but she talks about how she misses him.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess that's going to get into the main topic of this week's episode, which is our favorite arcs of the Clone Wars and Rebels. But first, we're going to start with our favorite Clone Wars arcs. And I don't know if anyone wants to kick it off, but I mean, there's plenty of good storylines in the Clone Wars, because there's 7 seasons of it, and they all run from 2 to 3 episodes long. If you haven't watched the Clone Wars, and it really dives deep into all the characters. So, anyone want to kick us off?
Let's start with Nick. He's our guest. He's our special guest.
That's nice. Thanks. I will kick it off. Maybe I'll do one, and then somebody else can do one. I think obviously we were all thinking this one is our favorite, and I'll just take it. I'll say it's when Ahsoka and Rafa meet up and they go help the other guy. No, I'm just kidding. Not that one. It is not that episode. It is. I think I am going to say, if we were picking season 7, actually I'm going to avoid season 7. I was going to say Phantom Apprentice, because that is just undeniably, I think, one of the best ever. But
yeah,
I think one of the ones that stuck out to me when I was going through this list, and you see a lot of the big ones, but one, a dark horse, I guess I would say, is Ahsoka leaving the Order. That whole arc, I think, is totally worth noting, because by the way, can I mention Fallen Order? Can I?
Yeah, you can.
Have you guys?
Yes.
Okay,
Spoiler warnings.
Spoiler warnings for Fallen Order, which I'll get into my point. But I like that this is just another example of just how not corrupt, but just how broken the Jedi Order is at this point in their history. I haven't read the High Republic yet, and I want to, because this is where they say it's the height of the Jedi Order. But just another example of how just flawed they are in the fact that Ahsoka, who has just been outstanding, literally just saved Anakin's life, sacrificing her own out of the ship, and then just goes to show that they're accusing her of doing something so ridiculous, and they don't even trust her. I mean,
yeah,
not trust her. It's crazy. And then hold on, go ahead before I continue.
They don't even defend her either. Yoda's let's just see what this is about, and they just they kind of cast her aside, and it's just
so much to the point where Anakin is again just gets too attached, but you kind of side with him on the fact he's gonna do whatever it takes to prove his obviously innocent Padawan. He was they were together when this bombing happens, and it was weird. I think one I loved in this episode that it ended up being Barriss that was the villain, because those two had such a great connection.
Yeah.
And getting stuck on Geonosis together, it's you would never think she would pin it on her, but she did. And then I will say one thing that I want to refer to this episode, and I don't know what has officially happened to Barriss after this, but I think they really missed the mark on making who I think it was the second sister in Fallen Order. They have the second sister in Fallen Order, and it's just some random character who was once a Jedi, and her master was yet another random Jedi. It was I feel it would have been the perfect opportunity to finally conclude Barriss's storyline going in Fallen Order. I think that would have kind of completed it all, but it was cool. That was just cool. Her working with Ventress. I just think it kind of flies under the radar, despite how monumental it is.
Oh yeah, it definitely. You go.
Crazy. I think it's crazy. At this point in where the series was to do that, make that decision, because where Ahsoka started and then where she ended in relation to how everybody thinks about her, and when at first she came off as an annoying character and then grew so much, and then people love her now, and just to do that was kind of crazy. But you're right, that series of episodes had such a different tone to them, and it put it into perspective, you're saying, just how the flip side of everything. And two, it also kind of gave you a perspective of how it merged into the Empire. I'm pretty sure what Tarkin's in that, right? In the prisons. And you kind of get to see that whole side of it, which just felt very classic, Star Wars in a way, which I thought was cool to meld that kind of together.
Yeah, and it's a real driving force for just Anakin turning. Padme's great. I actually love Padme. She's awesome. But him losing Ahsoka, and then them oh, we were wrong. And she's no. You guys didn't stuck up for me at all. Like I'm out.
I mean, good for her. If it was me, I would have been like, okay, thanks, I'm back. I'm totally.
It's like, oh wait, I get Jedi again. Yeah.
All right, deal.
I get to keep two lightsabers. Cool.
Andrew, to your point too, I wonder if after that episode they realized just like how important, like how much people liked her. Like, were they ever really planning on bringing her back ever again? It's like maybe not, but I think she just was like so well received. They're like, they just did what they did with Darth Maul. Like, well, we'll find a way. We'll bring her back.
Exactly.
She'll be huge.
At that point, you can't like not bring her back.
Mm-hmm. I think it was just getting canceled, and then they like moved it.
Then
it was like on Cartoon Network, and then they moved it somewhere else, right?
No, then Rebels was greenlit because Disney bought them, and then they renewed Clone Wars.
So they already, Dave Filoni already had a plan.
Oh, wait, no, they did like another one, season 6, which was like no Ahsoka at all. It's just like random stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did though make, Bad Batch, they like made the Bad Batch like right like after that season. So they had all of those. Yeah. I guess they had like a lot of those arcs. I wish they would have released those other arcs because they were really cool arcs. If you guys looked into them, like the Murder Jedi in Utapau, where they go to Utapau and like Anakin, Obi-Wan are investigating it and all that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember if there's any that even mentioned Ahsoka. At least there, they didn't have the Siege of Mandalore, which I think is just awesome. It's just
the best part.
They had those like half-finished ones on like on YouTube with like the recording, which that guy Justin you sent, I forget who it is, but he's like remastering it and everything. So it's like,
that was one of them. That was that. Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Yeah, that looks. I can't wait for that. It looks nuts.
Yeah, like what the clones actually look like. Tamora Morrison, like insane. I think it's like called Cinematic Creations, a very creative name, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
They had my final note on that canceled series is that they had like when it was half made and they didn't even do it the way that you're talking about, just like the blocky versions of it. When they had the Bad Batch originally, I remember watching it, and on the side of the ship, you know how they have Padme. And I think like it's like Padme in like a bikini, like a Leia bikini, and now like Disney was like, and then made her in like a very classy gown or whatever it was.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's gonna be taken off Disney Plus. We're gonna have to
release it, Disney. Yeah. Anyways, I'll go next. So one of my favorite arcs in the Clone Wars was the daughter, son, father arc. I actually watched it like 2 nights ago. So it was the most part of the lore of the Force in the whole series. And I honestly can't think of any other, unless you guys can think of something that has more of like the Force stuff like that than this like arc. Like starting, like this is like a conduit for the whole Force. What else? It solidified the fact that Anakin was the chosen one, because they never really talked about it before in the Clone Wars, but this just like solidified it, and he was supposed to be the balance between everything. What else? It also showed how important Ahsoka was to Anakin, and another reason why he went to the dark side. He told Father like, I'll do whatever I can to get her back. And then that's what happened. That's what ended up her being resurrected by the daughter, basically, by taking the rest of her life force into Ahsoka. And I love that part. All the Force and the lore was great. And that's honestly my favorite part of Star Wars.
Of Star Wars.
Yeah. Like the whole lore and the Force and the Jedi and the Sith. I love that part. Because it was like not this arc specifically, but just like the whole.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant for a second. I was like, "This is your favorite Star Wars?"
No,
I thought that's bad. I was just surprised.
Yeah, no. But also the father he just completely like fumbled there too. Like he brought Anakin and all of them there so that Anakin could take his place. And then the son showed that he was going to turn to this dark side, and Anakin saw literally everything he was going to do as Darth Vader. And then the father's like, "Oh no, let's erase those memories." And he was honestly, Anakin was like, "Hey, like I know that I'm going to do this, and I want to correct it." And the father's like, "No, we're not going to let you do that.
No, you will go down this path. You are meant to be bad. You're staying true."
Exactly. That's basically what happened. And so the father just really fumbled there because he really didn't. He just kind of made it all worse. Yeah,
a real lack of foresight. Like, you're like a 20-year-old. I'm going to completely uproot you from like your lifestyle. Like, and you're going to raise my kids. Like, well, your kids are like infinity years old and they want to kill me. I don't know if this is like the best lifestyle for me, man.
Yeah, he's like,
they can change it to like dragons.
That's so.
BJ, I agree with. I love the Mortis pick. I really like that one because that's always the episode. Whenever I'm asking people if they've gone through Clone Wars, I'm like, have you gotten to Mortis yet? Have you like? Because I think there's just something about that episode. Like, everyone goes through their own little things where Ahsoka's talking to older Ahsoka, Obi-Wan's talking to Qui-Gon, and everyone's kind of going through their own personal stuff, but also trying to balance like Anakin through that. I think, yeah, it's really cool.
And it like stretches out all the aspects of things that like people that might not have seen like all of Clone Wars or Rebels or all that kind of stuff. Like it reaches into, like you were saying, like Qui-Gon and like older Ahsoka, and like brings all these like feelings that stuff that you know is gonna happen and that they don't know that yet, kind of thing. But to like engulf that all in that like one arc, it is like insane. And BJ, like you were saying, like the father, the brother, and the sister are all like basically like it makes it a lot more digestible for people too to like understand like the physical representation of like what the Force is and like how it acts and like what balance is and stuff. I think it was handled like so perfectly.
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok actually where there was a character once called the Mother who was a part of their crew, and I guess she. You guys all nod your head. You guys all know about the Mother, or you guys just?
I've heard a little bit of it, but I'm not like.
Okay. All I saw was like she was like, I don't know, she's like a servant, or she ended up like them falling in love with the father, and then she was like, wait, you guys can live forever, and like I'm gonna die probably like a normal person. And then I think she like turned into some like crazy beast after like drinking out of the fountain of anti-youth, and then became like a monster. Something like that.
That sounds like Korra. That sounds like something from Legend of Korra.
I thought for a second you're about to be like, oh, and she became the Night Sister. I'm like, I was about to be like, what? That would have been crazy.
Oh yeah, it's Mother Taliesin. Never mind. That's what I said.
That would have been crazy.
Oh, well, that's a good arc, BJ. I support it, even if it's not your favorite of all things Star Wars. Drew, do you want to throw one out there?
Yeah. Let me just see where I put mine. I kind of liked like I'll go a little dark horse in this one too as well. Like something that I kind of liked that they did was they're not just always continuing like the same kind of episodes over and over where it's just like, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan or Ahsoka are just like doing the same thing over and over, like one battle to the next, and then all of a sudden it's like over kind of thing. I kind of liked how they even like pulled on like different aspects of like TV and stories in general. Like, so I believe it's called the Zillo Beast, if I'm remembering that.
Yeah.
And so like it was basically Godzilla, which is perfect timing for Kong versus Godzilla coming out.
Team Godzilla. Anyways.
Dude, you are so.
And
we're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about
it. Keep going, Drew.
And then also the episode Wookie Hunt, which is like basically a play on The Most Dangerous Game, like the classic.
Yeah, that's the one where Ahsoka's captured, right?
By the the Trandoshans and like Chewie's there and stuff.
Yeah, no, I have that one too. That one is crazy. When one of the kids, it sounds so bad out of like context. When one of the Padawans gets sniped, I was like, oh my God, like, dude, this is for kids. This is, or a family show, family geared show. And I was like, that was crazy. I think I saw that like, or I rewatched it a couple weeks ago. And I was like, dude, this scene is insane. Or that whole,
But yeah, I just like how it was such a change of pace for those two things. So I just kind of I like changing up every once in a while.
Yeah, no, and this like, I like how it's similar to like Ant-Man and the Wasp. I like how the stakes are low, like galaxy wise, but in terms of the characters there, it's like life or death.
Life or death, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was really
self-contained stories kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think going back to the Zillow Beast one, I think what I like about that is the very rare times you see like Mace Windu and Anakin like together, because you can just see like the relationship is just never good. I mean, like it kind of like they sometimes have like nice back and forth. Like anytime they have like a nice like a nice little smile together, I'm like, this is great. I wish it would stay like this forever.
You're like, oh no, this is gonna get bad right after this.
Yeah, the worst hell.
Yeah. I think the worst part about Clone Wars is like we know what's gonna happen. We just can't stop it. We know Anakin's gonna turn. But
yeah. Well, it definitely does a great, I mean, this is not like, I guess not an arc, but just the Clone Wars does in general is like it definitely makes Anakin like way cooler and like kind of just gives his character like way more depth where like then the fall becomes even more like tragic in a way.
Like even sadder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, also so the original Clone Wars came out on Disney Plus. I guess we can talk about this another time, but there's a Mace Windu part and I was like, oh my god, like he's powerful.
Dude, when him and Yoda are tearing it up on Coruscant, that is like
but I'm even talking about before that. Like he took like a whole army out by himself. Like it's crazy.
Is that the one where I thought I saw it? I think I saw like a TikTok. He's like running, just like jumped up like 40 stories and
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, he's pretty insane, that the whole Clone Wars show. Yeah, it's great. And you get to see Anakin become a Jedi Knight, which is cool. But that's not
it is.
Yeah, it's like if you haven't seen it yet, it's 2 70-minute videos because there was a bunch of shorts and they just
I just started that like an hour before this actually.
I started it yesterday just to like put it on and I watched the whole put it on in the background and doing something and I watched the whole thing just out there.
Yeah, I finished it and I thought, well, we'll talk about the whole thing later, but never mind.
Okay, so one of my favorite stories arcs in the Clone Wars. Looking at this list here, I think I'm going to pick a different, or not a different one, but go out of order. I liked Slaves on the Republic. I bring this one of these episodes up every time we talk about Clone Wars, even a little bit. But I'm like watching this, obviously back to the fact that it's a family show. I was like, dude, they cover some like dark topics for families to like watch. But I think it's like important to know, and like like the severity and how terrible it is. And it's also terrible for Anakin, who's the only one who doesn't get enslaved. But he comes from slavery and his mom died because of it. And he has to pretend to be a slaver for this queen to like, what I forgot what the Torguda colony. They're looking for a lost colony on that planet or whatever. And I just like, I was surprised at how dark it was. And I really liked it. And then Obi-Wan like trying to like be the good guy in prison, and all the people are like, stop, like you're just messing us up, like you're getting us killed for trying to be a good guy here. And I'm like, when I was thinking of my favorite arcs in the Clone Wars, like that one always comes to my head, and then the Wookie Hunt one that you brought up, Drew.
I think it'll be interesting to see how they're the Zygerians, how they get thrown into the Bad Batch, because you see them fighting one of those guys. So I'm interested to see like, why are they even going there? What's the point?
Yeah, it just makes me more and more wish that we had like a little bit more context about like what this story is kind of going to be like, because then I would be like, I mean, I'm really excited for it. I just like, I want to know. I want it to be May already. I need to know something.
I kind of want to go into it blind, like not know as much.
At least you know they're getting hunted by Tarkin.
But like the whole time, it's tough to see like where, like at what point are they, like when they show them doing the training, like are they still, is this like the Empire at this point because Tarkin's up there like in a pretty high position, or is that like before and then they get hunted and then they're with the clones? And I mean, it's I had no idea like at what point we're in.
Because they say something weird too, where they're like, oh, they like disobey orders and all this stuff, and people were like thinking, oh, does that mean they like completely disregarded like 66? And then do we start right after like Clone Wars season 7? Or we like get a little bit like a week or two before that kind of thing? It's like, where exactly?
Ooh, I didn't even think of that. That'd be interesting.
Drew, I think you're right, because I think there is a scene where you see like Palpatine hooded and he does like the first galactic empire, and you like see him doing that whole thing. I think you're right. I think it's like kind of like around there too.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting just to like place it in the timeline.
Yeah, if it is before Order 66 and then we get some of Order 66, they're gonna have to cut it with that long cut of Episode 3, the last season of Clone Wars and Bad Batch. That'd be interesting. I'd watch it.
I would also watch anything Star Wars that comes out.
Yeah.
Other than Resistance. No offense, Resistance.
I haven't watched that either.
I tried. I couldn't.
Yeah, I've heard not so amazing things about it.
Also, I don't know what it is. Not even like just the sequel's fault, but I'm like less interested in the original trilogy stuff. Like I think outside of Han Solo, but that's because I just love him. But just because like it's like Luke's story and their story, those three. Wow, that's just how I feel about it. I guess I still like it. If anyone's like,
I feel like the original is just, it lays the groundwork for them to expand, and everything else is kind of more expansive and expanding on that.
That's why even some people are like feel questionable. I'm looking at the High Republic books. That's what I'm pointing to. But I know some people think it's questionable, but it's also like 200 or 300 years before. So it's like this, you can just do whatever you want, and it's like not gonna really affect anything else. So I think that's good.
Yeah. As long as, yeah. Never mind. If I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
Please don't.
So make it, because I'm gonna go right into, I don't know what to call it, but the Crisis of Naboo. I just named it by the last episode. But this is the one where Obi-Wan fakes his death. Anakin freaks out, and it really sold it. And he poses as a bounty hunter, and he has to test himself along with other bounty hunters. Cad Bane is among them, who's very cool. And then so this is so Count Dooku can have like a super team of assassins or bounty hunters. I'm pretty sure they were trying to assassinate Palpatine, but it could have been Padme. But I'm pretty sure it was Palpatine, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Palpatine.
Yeah, I just remember that episode was those 3 episodes were crazy. I think it was 4. It was like one of the longer ones. I was surprised how long it was.
They're like so different. Like you would never expect that kind of thing. Like, and to get Boba in there too, it was like a cool like bridge for that stuff, for that whole like storyline.
Just another example of the Jedi betraying Anakin's trust. You know, they didn't tell. It was his boy. I mean, and they could have told him of all people, but they didn't.
He's dead.
You know, that's so funny. They're like, yeah, we needed you to sell it. It's like, dude, I'm the chosen one. Like, I don't know. You gotta let me know this stuff.
All this stuff.
He's like, you know how I am with attachments. Like, come on.
You know, I hate that one rule that you guys have, that I can't be attached to things.
But yeah, also like Cad Bane in that too. Like, I really hope we get Cad Bane in like season 3 of The Mandalorian or something. I'd love to see Cad Bane in live action.
So that's one of those episodes, and I guess I'm not canon because they were never officially finished, but one of those episodes they made, and it's him and Boba Fett doing like a standoff. And then the reason why Boba Fett has like the dent in his helmet is because he did a standoff, and apparently Boba Fett killed Cad Bane, but he hit him in the head. But because it's like the Beskar, so it's like I don't know. Are they just gonna stick with that? Is he dead, or is it like?
That is pretty sweet though.
That isn't.
I would love for them to like continue that somehow. Like if we get, it would be sweet if we got like that in the Bad Batch at some point. Like they like tied that in somehow.
Also, what I'm getting from that is Palpatine ordered a lot of like kidnapping or hits on himself.
Yeah.
Like a lot, because they also had that in the original Star Wars or the original Clone Wars.
Yeah,
it just was like, hey, kidnap me and then send me back, I guess.
Yeah.
Grievous caught him in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
It's genius. Because like as
no one ever suspect yourself.
Yeah, as Sidious, he's like, you must capture Palpatine, but please do not kill him.
Be gentle.
Because every time they're like, oh, we want him alive. We need him alive. but you can't kill
him. Do not.
You can rough him up a little bit.
Please tuck him in at night. Okay. So Drew, you want to go? Wait, did you go second? It doesn't matter. Whoever wants to actually drop an arc.
Yeah, whatever works. You know, I didn't have this on here, but after talking about it, like just something remind me of it. I like really liked the Padawan episodes where like they go to Ilum and all that stuff, and they get the crystals and build the lightsabers and stuff. Because apparently at one point that they were thinking about making like that a spin-off show, and with that whole like crew of
Padawans.
the Padawans were and stuff, and like them building their lightsabers and doing all that stuff with like Hondo gets with them at some point or like captures them, right?
Yeah.
Like when they're on that ship. Yeah, I just that's not another like random kind of one that definitely stuck out too.
Yeah, it's a good arc, but I don't know if it'd be a good show because like
I don't know if it would be a great show, but that
the series finale is them in a room with Anakin. So bad.
Oh no. Also in none of the movies we see how like lightsabers get made either.
Mm-hmm.
So like even when what was it? Episode 5?
When Luke loses his lightsaber and gets the green one?
Yeah. They didn't show like how he got his lightsaber.
From 6.
Yeah.
It's like a deleted scene where you see him working in like a cave with like a screwdriver. And
it's like, where did you even get the Kyber crystal?
It's funny because the reasoning is they're like, the sky is too blue in Tatooine. We need a green lightsaber. So it doesn't like blend in the background. But it looks cool. I like the green. I guess that was the first green one we've seen.
So apparently that like I know this is such like backlore that this is not the reason they made this decision. Like you were saying, it's like definitely because this color of the sky. But I love like the backtracking that they do. They're like, well, actually, it is Qui-Gon's lightsaber that Obi-Wan held on to for 70 years. And you're like, all right, I'll buy it.
It's like, okay.
That's what they said. They said that Yoda died in Qui-Gon's cloak. It's like, I guess, but like, why?
It's like, cool.
Why is he carrying that? Why did he have that with him the whole time?
Yeah.
He just like, he's like on his way out, and like Bail Organa's picking up. He's like, hold on, I got to go to my locker real quick. I got to go grab Qui-Gon's cloak. That
and it's always on his bed.
Yeah.
I need a blankie.
So yeah, they said that from a certain point of view too. He's like this cloak Qui-Gon gave it to me, and this bowl Obi-Wan gave it to me, and then like a droid comes and Yoda has to use the bowl to destroy the droid, and he's like, oh, Obi-Wan's gonna be so mad. Like, I destroyed this thing he gave to me. I was like, dude, this is so random.
Comes back as the Force Ghost. He's like, my bowl.
What are you doing? That was terrible, Obi-Wan. I'm cutting that out. Okay. I can't
Nick,
do.
What's your next one?
Animal accent. Scooby-Doo, Chewbacca.
I think my next one, I got one more, and then I'm good with mine before going to the Rebels arcs. I don't know if you guys have more. My last one is just, this was always my favorite. I think it was like it was always down between Mortis, and then the first time Obi-Wan goes back to Mandalore to save Satine. So you see him being like the bad boy of the Jedi and going behind their backs like, nope, I'm heading over there. And then he dips, he heads over there. He does all this cool stuff like sneaking around. You find out in that episode that Bo-Katan and Satine are sisters. So that's awesome. And then afterwards, it's like the coolest part about it, besides the scene of like the doors opening and Jetpack Obi-Wan like standing there and looking at like all the fight going around him is awesome. But the coolest part is when Palpatine shows up and like the camera starts like turning, starts getting like spooky, and he walks in there, and gotta be one of my favorite always fights for sure. I got a few favorite fights that I always like. That one and the one where Obi-Wan is going against Savage and Maul at the same time, and keeps on like kicking. Keeps on kicking Savage's leg.
The red lightsaber too, right?
Is that when he has the red light? No. The red lightsaber I thought he got from Ventress. This is the one where they killed like his partner Jedi, right? And he had two blue ones.
Yeah, like the random.
Oh yeah,
the random girl. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just think that's always one worth noting. It was the coolest Mandalore episode until the Phantom Apprentice ones, I think.
Yeah, that scene where they open up the thing and it's him standing there with the lightsaber and like the jetpack and stuff. It's like Very much so, like the Jon Snow moment from like Battle of the Bastards. I thought.
Is that when Satine dies?
Oh yeah, I had that. Yeah, where I didn't think I was gonna feel like. I remember texting a friend. I was like, dude, wait till you get to this episode. You're gonna want to cry. And then I finished. I was like, did you? And he was like, no, I didn't really care about her. I was like, all right, see ya. I'm never talking to you about this. I was like, that is. I mean, yeah, that's a real tearjerker.
Yeah, and she's pretty important too. Just with Mandalore and with Obi-Wan's, like, we'll probably see more in the show how much her death affected him.
Yeah, I hope they do pull on that and like use that, because like that definitely gave him a lot more like personal depth in his story rather than just being like the teacher all the time.
Yeah. And he was like going against orders, which he usually never does.
Yeah, like very off-brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two more real quick, and then we can move to Rebels unless you guys have more.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay.
There's so many that we could keep going on for hours.
I think we're just gonna name all the arcs.
Yeah. Drop some.
Go through the whole.
My last two. First, the clone chip arc, where you see how they have chips in their heads. And who's the Jedi with them? Who looks like Ahsoka? Shakti, yes. She's cool. Yeah, but
I like her makeup, dude. I like the all white. That's like not part of the episode, but I think she's rips. All right, keep going.
I think like just seeing how it happened and how well it was planned in advance. Just that background was cool. And it was like a change of scenery too, because it was just like all white lab on like water or whatever. And the last one, the Night Sisters and the whole Maul arc and finding out like where Maul came from kinda and his brother. That was cool. And the Night Sisters are cool. Seeing Ventress backstory, amazing. And seeing Force wielders who weren't Sith, but they were still with the dark side.
Dathomir.
Loved it.
Dude, the levels in Fallen Order when you're on Dathomir, I like tried to breeze through that so fast because I was like, dude, this place is actually scary playing here. Because I know there's gonna be like some jump cut, and it's like just a video game.
And of course,
like trying to run through it.
It takes you forever.
Yeah, dude, I was playing at like 2 a.m. and I was like, dude, I'm gonna play this in the morning. Like, it's like freaking me out right now. But
BJ, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that the people are good in the game. So
I was just, real quickly, I was gonna say, BJ. I think something that I want them to keep exploring more is like those kind of Force users that aren't like Jedi and Sith, not because they have there's so many cool, like from an outsider's point of view, it's just like some hokey religion, and it's like there's so many just like other things that it could be. I just saw like some random thing that Plo Koon's planet has like Force sensitive people. They got like their own like little planet order that they just go and they do like philanthropic work. Just like, cool stuff. You not have to get so dramatic about it,
Exactly. Was that the same planet with that Jar Jar and Mace went on? And there was just everyone was kind of Force sensitive.
I know what you mean. I don't think so. But you're right. That's another thing. It's like awesome to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like people are like so divided. Like, why are you picking a team? Like, just have the Force.
Yeah.
Just do your own thing, man.
Yeah.
I guess the Jedi like abduct kids.
Yeah.
They don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
That's like not to completely jump ahead at all, but that just made me think of it like when the like Zeb's species, I almost said Loth cats, but no.
Is it Zabrak? Is that what it is?
Is it no, that's... Is
that a planet? Dude,
no, those are guys on Dathomir. I think it starts with an L. I forget. I'm blanking.
Lasat.
There he is. Yeah.
Lasat, yeah.
They describe it as like something different, or like they talk about the Force, but they call it something different. And like just the way they like talk about it, it's like I don't know. I like that too when you see it like used in different ways that are just not like black and white kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did you have another arc, BJ, or should we just move into Rebels since we're talking about Zeb?
Let's move into Rebels. I'm good.
Good transition. You guys are naturals at this. That was great.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with Rebels. There's a lot of stories, but it's also like a pretty linear story throughout. So there's like many storylines within it, but it's one whole story all the way through. But my favorite is Sabine is my favorite character, is the Trials of the Darksaber. Mandalore is cool, and I like Sabine. So I'm like, when she has like her own storyline for like a couple episodes, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be my favorite. So
I like this arc because I like Sabine.
Yeah, I also like my other favorite arc is the one where she is an Imperial cadet undercover. It's because about Sabine, but I like that when you get Wedge, so that's cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. Is the Trials of the Darksaber? Is it the end of those episodes where she just like passes the Darksaber to Bo-Katan?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any sort of take on like Bo-Katan taking it like pretty happily there, and then her like being so dramatic about it in the Mandalore?
That's probably do you have like so dramatic about it because Moff Gideon, and then I'm assuming, or however she maybe
people just like didn't respect her power because it was like just handed to her. I guess so that's why now she takes it so seriously.
Yeah, no, I mean like we were talking about with like the transfer of power with that whole thing, and you get the whole backstory with the Darksaber too. I just think that's like it was something that we kind of like touched on like in the past, but you never got the full backstory. And then being able to take that arc and use it to drive the Mandalorian like plot, and then sending people back to watch Rebels, I think is like a really cool like. I mean, it's probably a business decision, but also it's like a really cool story decision for them to do.
Yeah. Connecting.
I agree. I remember when I saw the Darksaber in toy stores. This is before I was watching Rebels. I was like, "What is this?" It's like, "What is Star Wars doing?" And then when I watched, I was like, "Oh, this is actually really cool."
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, it makes kind of sense."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, and like one of mine, Justin, I just saw because I was like reading it. The like the episodes right before that where they get like possessed and they take the Darksaber too. Like that, like kind of adds they like kind of like two arcs that come together. I just thought that was like. That same mind right there.
That's when she's fighting Ezra, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that goes back to like the Dathomir magic.
Kanan gets possessed also, right?
Yeah. That's one of those arcs where it's like you just forget about it. When you think about Rebels, you don't think about that one, but when you do, it's like, oh god, that was cool. Like bringing it back to Clone Wars, bringing it back to all that. It's like that's really cool.
Yeah, and that was one of the ones too where it like compounded with the whole like nonstop Maul trying to get Ezra to be his like apprentice over and over and over, and it just like never ends.
That's my favorite part about Rebels, other than Sabine, is when he's like my apprentice, and Ezra's like, oh, dude, like I have a master.
Like, stop calling me
Dad. You're embarrassing me. That's me right there. My dad just walked in and said, "My apprentice," and that's funny. Actually, that sort of leads into my arc that I like. So mine was the Twilight of the Apprentice. And I think what I like just really like about that is, well, first of all, that's another episode where I'm like, did you get to the end of season 2? Because I think it's like where you see the meme of like the horse, and it's like the end of the horse is like not that great. And you see like a beautiful part of like the drawing, and then it goes. Yeah. I think it's like, season 1's good, season 2's good. That's some like great stuff. But like the end of season 2, I think is just my favorite part of all of it, because you see Ahsoka meeting up with Vader again. And that's one of those moments where
for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, they see each other for the first time, and then you kind of hear his real voice, and he turns back to Anakin real quick for a second. And that's one of those episodes where every time I look at him, like, oh, she's gonna convince him. He's not going back. Like, well, we'll be good from here. And then it just isn't. Every time it tricks me. But going back to, I think Maul calling him the apprentice. So it's like you kind of see here's a kid with Ezra where he is starting to learn the Force way too late, and he wants to be a Jedi, wants to be this and that. But it's like the perfect parallel to Anakin. The difference being with like who he's surrounding himself with. and like what they value, I think is the most important. So you look at Anakin, it's like, well, I just got to go by these old rules because that's what they say. Like, I can't have attachments. I can't love. I can't do anything. They're like, all the Jedi should have. It's like should be the fundamentals. So it's like he eventually just like falls from his like position as on the council and everything. You go to Ezra, it's like, you know, he has this like supportive group of people who like, you know, really like cared for him and like loved him. And we're able to like kind of get through his like teen phase of like, I'm gonna go the dark side. And it's like, all right, man, but like you won't. And then he's like, yeah, I won't. But it's like that episode, you see him drawn from the dark side, and I think it's like they have a pretty similar path, and then they just kind of go their separate ways.
Yeah, both naive, but like Ezra is like actually doing it out of good. Not that Anakin's not, but Anakin is like he's just told no all the time. While people are like, you don't have to, Ezra. You probably shouldn't, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah, Sorry, go ahead, BJ.
Okay. Well, I was also gonna say just Twilight the Apprentice, the I'm no Jedi part. I feel like we bring this up every time, but it's just so good. And then they start fighting, and then the whole fact that they're in a Sith temple. We've never seen a Sith temple.
Yeah.
Another part of just Force lore. It's great. I love that.
And the fact that we don't know what happens to Ahsoka for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, the end of that episode where you just see like a hobbling Vader out of there, like you just assume like, wow, he killed her, but she kind of gave him the business. I mean, she was working. Yeah, wait. And you think he like killed her. I was just like, I think at the end of that episode, like, oh, he killed her. Yeah. And then he's just like hobbling out, and then like that's where it ends. You see like the little owl flying above the sister owl.
This kind of leads into like, wait, BJ, what happened to Ahsoka? Is this one of your favorite arcs?
Yeah. So
trying to transition it.
Yeah. So, well, I'm just gonna tell you, like, when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god. And I was texting Brie at the time, and she accidentally let it slip that Ahsoka was fine in Rebels. I was like, oh, thank God. And then I kept watching.
Oh wait, more for a week that it was like a bad spoiler.
Yeah. It was a good spoiler.
Yeah.
Because right after like that whole like thing finally got spoiled, like when it dropped like live on TV, and there was that whole like Ahsoka Lives campaign. It's like, all right, we'll go, like let's hold on a little bit for like people to catch up.
Yeah. Also, Kanan got blinded in that arc, which was super important for him.
Yeah, that's when he got way cooler. No offense to Kanan.
There's so much stuff in that arc that you forget about. Like, saw the crossguard lightsaber too. Like the green one.
Okay, and then I'll tell you what, the one thing, all these great things, you gotta have a bad thing. I think this is the first time we see like the helicopter sabers like flying off after like the eighth brother or something. He's like, he gets like his ass kicked, and he's like, oh.
And then he's so stubborn with it, and he keeps flying, and then he falls to his death.
Yeah,
like,
that was the stupidest Inquisitor of all time.
I think they were just trying to like, what should we do for a cool lightsaber? They haven't thought of. Actually, I don't think they have thought of Kylo's lightsaber yet, which I know some people will disagree with. But they're like, what's a cool lightsaber we can do? Like, what if they could fly with it? Like, dude, that's it.
What if they turn their bodies into helicopters?
Yeah, because they went from like a blue and red lightsaber. They're like, all right, what's the next step? They're like, green. All right, what's after that? Double-sided.
Purple.
Yeah, purple. Which is good.
Helicopters.
Yeah, now helicopters.
Big jump.
Let's take a step back. Let's go to one that looks like a sword. That would like be like not very helpful if the little things were lightsabers, but it still looks cool for Kylo, and we like it for him.
The kind of going back to like what you were saying, Nick, like this arc is such the turning point for this show too. Like that, I remember I tried to like go back and watch season 1, and like where there are like redeeming parts, and like it's good for like building the relationships between the characters and stuff. But oh my God, is that rough to get through at some point?
Yeah.
Like
for the first time for sure.
Yeah. And trying to get people to like be like, oh no, this show is like really good. And they're like, what am I watching right now?
That's actually super funny because Fryer was texting. He just started Rebels. He's like, first season's so hard. I'm like, just get through it.
Yeah, right after that, I mean, it that takes off. Like,
yeah,
it's so good after that.
Drew, what's your favorite? One of your favorites?
I kind of liked one called Shroud of Darkness, and it was like kind of part of that arc with Ahsoka where she's coming back and they're going through the process of like trying to further the Jedi like not want to say mindset, but like their journey. And this is when they find that temple in Lothal. They have that like terrible version of Yoda where he looks like awful. But I liked it too because this is where Kanan becomes like a full-fledged Jedi Knight, and it kind of like piques his like him being like Ezra's actual master, and like not trying to like push him off on somebody else like he had been like this entire time with like trying to find different Jedi and stuff like that, and even with Ahsoka. But and then when you see too, like it kind of gives you a deeper understanding of like what happened during Order 66, and also like a little bit like into the Clone Wars also, where you see like the Grand Inquisitor was a Jedi Temple Guard, and then they turned like, or some of them I guess at least like turned and then became Inquisitors. I just thought that was like that whole thing wrapping everybody up was kind of cool in like the in one of like the middle seasons.
What are we supposed to take away from, like, you see the Grand Inquisitor back as a Jedi and he's kind of acting like a Jedi, and then he goes and he fights the other two Inquisitors and stuff like, are we supposed to get that like that is his actual consciousness like back in like an old body, or is it just supposed to be some sort of symbol that the temple is projecting?
I think it's probably just like one of those things where like a lot of weird stuff like happens in those like visions or whatever, and we're not like 100% sure one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like
right. And the only reason I ask this is like, the only reason I'm asking because like that same, it looked like that same Grand Inquisitor that I was talking to him, like if Kanan is seeing him, like the other two are also seeing him. So it's like, it's not just, do they both just happen to have personal visions of the Grand Inquisitor? Like, is he just kind of like strolling the temple?
Yeah, I don't know. That is definitely like something weird to think about, where it's like, are they all like having different experiences kind of thing when they're there?
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kanan, just going into that Jedi Knight where he sacrifices himself, was not expecting that. I was like, oh my God. How could they kill him? Oh.
Okay, I was gonna say, if this is the episode where he dies, dude, from the beginning of the episode, if not a couple episodes before, you can tell like Kanan's about to die.
Yeah.
Dude, they're literally wrapping up so many things. He goes, or I don't know, I can't think of any examples, but I remember where he's like, I think he's talking to Hera on like a little dock after they break into the place. He's like, this is easier than expected. They're like, they're gonna need us or whatever. I don't know. But I was like, dude, he's gonna die. Like he's so dead right here.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it. I was so sad.
I remember that because he'll be like, don't worry, I got everything under control. And like, why do you keep saying it so smug? And he's like, don't worry about it. He's like, you got, just wait for the kicker. You guys are I'm gonna blow you guys away with this one.
And then he sees her for the last time. I started crying.
No, that was cool. That was a sweet moment.
You forget about like how early they did that too. Like whenever I think about that, for some reason, I'm always like, oh, that was like the second to last episode, and it's
like 4 or 5 episodes, right?
Yeah, there was still several to go. But like, I kind of like going back and watching it a couple times. Like I love like that was like the culmination and like the final like thing for Kanan to do, because it really takes his like entire journey from start to finish like completely full circle.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then that gives Ezra to go to the world between worlds, save
which that was one of my favorite. Ezra saves Ahsoka, which I love that. And it's a continuation of the daughter, son, and father arc of Clone Wars. Opens up so much possibilities for Star Wars. And when he's in it and when he first goes in, he hears like voices of all these Jedi. He hears Qui-Gon Jinn, he hears Rey, which I was super surprised. I literally just rewatched it right before. I was like, wow, he hears everyone.
Yeah, and it was cool that it shows that he's like, even though he's dabbled with the dark side, he's inherently good, because like the chance to be with his parents again and Palpatine to give him everything.
He's a tough call.
Yeah, he still chooses to be good. Whether that's a Jedi or not, he's like on the right side.
I thought that was cool too.
It is cool too.
You can like go so wrong in like that could have been bad, right? Like they could have gone really wrong, and because like time travel in general can be difficult to like put in. But I think it was like so perfectly done, and like for when Ahsoka was like talking to him, because like then he wanted to like save Kanan really badly, and then she was like, if you do that, then like you're not here, and like this never happens, kind of thing. I just saw like it presented like the reason why Kanan did it, like a payoff for it, and then it like put into perspective like why he had to do that,
and
like
why he could why you can't just reverse it either. Like he can't come back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, we have dived into a lot of the arcs here, but I mean, this could literally go on for however long the show is. How many hours out of 60 hours, 70 hours? Or actually, I think Clone Wars is 66, not to get specific, but we could go on about this forever. But yeah, Nick, thank you for coming on. If you have anything to say, like, this is awesome. So,
gentlemen, this was a pleasure. If you ever need like a last minute guy to hop on, you want to discuss, I'm kind of BJ's like mentor in Star Wars stuff. So if you ever need the big dogs to come in, I got you. I can come on whenever you guys want.
Hell yeah.
Nick sends me the most Star Wars TikToks. How about that?
We'll have a TikTok episode one day.
Ooh,
yeah, I've dropped, unfortunately, way too many. Like, yeah, I saw this on TikTok. Oh, I also saw this on TikTok. Like, all right, man, we get it.
It's a good source for Star Wars.
No, my TikTok algorithm
good stuff on there.
The Last Airbender, Star Wars. I mean, that's like a lot of it.
Mine and Nick's have like intertwined between Avatar and like there's TikToks of Avatar and Star Wars in one.
That's awesome.
I'll see you guys on the Avatar podcast in 2 minutes, and we'll start talking about that.
Perfect.
Cool. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll definitely have to have you on again, and you guys know where you can find us. You know, Bad Batch Podcast on pretty much everything except Twitter is Bad Batch Pod, and we'll see you guys next week.
Later. Thanks, Nick.
Bye.
Yep.